You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No, he destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never coming back.
Documentary, there's a couple things I'll share with you guys on what I took away from it. But Rob, maybe share the clip on how he got access to some of the footage of the documentary. Is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day.
Perhaps.
Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. His team sending a cease and desist to Netflix.
If Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be...
People get on my nerves talking about who you should be seen with. I do homeless shelters. I walk in prison ministries. I deal with murderers. I deal with rapists and killers because they're our children, our sons.
I stopped by Puffy's house for 30 minutes to say happy birthday to him during the day at 2 o'clock with staff people. And out of that came a love affair and all kinds of stuff. You too? Yes. Now I'm almost 70 years old.
In 50 Cent's latest documentary, restraint becomes the loudest statement, subtly exposing how figures like Diddy and TD Jakes once operated in separate worlds of entertainment, belief, and authority that were never meant to intersect publicly. Yet when influence spreads across powerful spaces, reality doesn't disappear. It lingers, waiting for pressure to force it into view, revealing not a single incident, but a culture built on proximity, protected images, and an unspoken agreement to value ease over integrity, making it clear that when silence finally breaks, the real question isn't what happened, but why it was allowed to continue unchecked for so long.
Me to himself, wrapped his arms around me and tried to kiss me. And in that moment, I literally died.
This was a shock to many in the religious community. Bishop TD Jakes has been a spiritual advisor to presidents and a religious voice to thousands.
Because, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has prepared us for his departure for many decades. And many people, if you wrongly idol worship someone, you could have a void.
We just had a shake in not only the religious community, but our culture's community, to where Dallas, we have people like Kirk Franklin, Erykah Badu. Of these names, and then you hear someone like Bishop Jakes, the Potter's House, that of course has risen Dallas to where you have these entities and these figures that, when you say the name, you kind of already know what it is. And we just recently seen that Bishop Jakes had stepped down. Now, I want to have this conversation because I have my own theories. No Diddy, but I have my own theories about why he would step down. But I do want to address the fact that he did step down. What is y'all take on it? And then also, where does it go from here? Dooney, if you don't mind, I can start with you because you actually have a personal relationship with Bishop Jakes. You've been calling him out for the past few years, damn near feel like a decade or so. You've been calling the man out, and now it seems like he didn't answer your phone call, and now he done stepped all the way down.
Yeah.
So
I don't blame him. I wouldn't answer phone call.
This bitch don't start letting you ask me
I'm
the
just
question.
telling you, I know. I wouldn't answer your call. Come on, go ahead though.
Okay,
please.
Let me say this, man, to Bishop TD Jakes. You know what I'm saying? It was never any beef, anything like that. It was just some things that went on that I wanted to sit down and talk to you about that happened at the Mega Fest in Atlanta. And one of the ministers you had on staff. And because of where I came from, you know what I'm saying, it challenged my faith because of some things he did. So I just wanted to talk to you. I talked to Sean. Well, I didn't say no name, but your head security guard came to holler at me. And I sent the word out that I just wanted to speak with you. But your son came by. Shout out to my man, your son, you know, Jermaine, you know, he know what it is. And we talked and we discussed it. But I just want to say this to you, Bishop. You know, you have sown a lot of seeds in Dallas. Ever since you came down, I had the honor of cutting your hair, meeting your First Lady, Jakes, Mama Jakes, Sarah, Cora. You know, I just mentioned y'all named Jermaine, Jamar, you know, Lil Dex. It was an honor meeting you all. And let me say to Mama Jakes.
In 50 Cent's documentary, a sudden retreat from the spotlight by a dominant pulpit figure turns timing into the true story. As TD Jakes, after decades of shaping influence through measured language, expansive reach, and proximity to civic leadership, steps aside in a way that feels anything but routine, particularly in an era where public standing can unravel fast and withdrawals often signal foresight rather than rest. So when this transition coincides with a separate, escalating legal controversy tied to Diddy, observers inevitably begin drawing connections long before any conclusions are reached, forcing an uneasy reflection on whether the move reflects pure calling, strategic awareness, or a deliberate balance of both.
Yo, happy to have you back on the platform, man. It's been a while, man. I haven't had you on the platform in a long time, man.
Man, stop playing, man. I ain't never left, man. Shit. All I did was change clothes.
So I want to get right into it, man. How you feel about these rumors surrounding, you know, Diddy and TD Jakes?
Man, what I think about it is this, you know, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So now what he's doing is he's making the Christians look real bad right about now.
And you've been to these parties, right?
Oh yeah, I was there when he was doing the white parties in the Hamptons and the whole 9 yards. So I know what goes on at the parties. If you know, they probably got a little bit more freakier, you know, as time went on, you know, because they got to the point whereas that they didn't even care. It used to be secretly, you know, where people used to go to, you know, separate rooms and different rooms, and they wasn't doing that out in the public, you know. So, but now they don't care. Men kissing men and all this other that's just crazy.
So why do you think he was going to these parties?
I think that he's going to the Diddy parties, you know, bruh. If he's going, well, we know he's going to the Diddy parties, and I know that it's, I know what usually happens at the Diddy party, or what we told us happened at the Diddy parties. Maybe he needs to see it for himself, man. Maybe he needs to go there and really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they go into those parties. Or maybe he just...
When a civil filing surfaces a name, public opinion often races to a conclusion long before the courts speak. And in 50 Cent's documentary, the records highlight a familiar pattern where a single mention inside a broader case is treated as proof and proximity is confused with validation, especially when someone like TD Jakes, widely regarded as a steady advisor, bridge builder, and voice of balance, becomes associated with questions of influence and trust, adding emotional weight that stretches beyond verified facts. And while the legal system is designed to separate claims from conclusions, public perception rarely shows the same restraint, leaving a serious question hanging. Once early judgment hardens into fixed belief, how much room is left for fairness and due process to truly exist?
A religious man, you know, when you know that the saints supposed to separate themselves from the sinners, and why would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bro? Whether it's drinking, maybe fornicating, maybe, like I said, men on men, women on women. It's hard to put in perspective unless he's involving himself what is actually going on at the parties. It's hard, brother. Bro, you know, you can't, I really don't know why, as a spiritual advisor to him, that they buddy while he got a party with him like that and be at his parties. It's got to be, maybe it's something more that meets the eye. You know, I don't know. You know, I've had, you know, I've talked to preachers and I've talked to reverends and priests, but they ain't never came to a party with me or nothing like that. So it's hard to figure that one out, bruh, without even saying, you know, what people might be thinking. But I heard that there's supposed to be some tapes or something that's coming out real soon, and I guess we'll all really know the truth if anything's on those tapes.
From your point of view, right, when you look at TD Jakes, your point of view, your opinion, do you take him serious as a pastor?
Do I take him serious? That's not my type of pastor. You know, you got to look at a person's household, and if your household is not in order, you understand, how you gonna help somebody else get their house in order? You know, one of his sons got arrested, you know, some years ago in Dallas, you know, allegedly for being found in a park where a bunch of people that are homosexuals hang out and indulge in sexual activity. And I heard his two sons, which are not his biological sons, both of them are from that LGBT community. Now, how you gonna help me straighten out my house, and to me, your house ain't in order? Not saying that something is wrong with them being and choosing that lifestyle, but something is wrong with them choosing that lifestyle, being in a household with a reverend.
The central issue in 50 Cent's documentary isn't about one incident or a closed-door encounter, but about what sustained influence is able to protect over time. As the transcripts repeatedly suggest, a quiet dynamic where perceived moral standing can mute scrutiny, money and credibility reinforce one another, and strategic relationships can postpone accountability, making it clear that this framework reaches far beyond Diddy or TD Jakes and points to a broader system in which institutions subtly cushion consequences, pushing us to face an unsettling reality. When reputation is engineered like a public strategy, how do we define genuine responsibility once trust itself becomes a negotiable currency?
Obviously, the government is presenting this as Diddy coercing her to stay in this relationship, to continue doing these freak-offs, even though she has said she didn't want to. But how much of that did she share with Diddy? Did he know that he was coercing her into this? Because that's what the whole sex trafficking charge is going to come down to. So one of the text messages after a hotel night that they had together. Remember, hotel nights is what Jane refers to it. Cassie called them freak-offs, but these are their parties with male escorts. So after this one, this was in August of 2022, she wrote to him, "That was so much fun, baby. My love for you is unconditional and for life." She's referring to that particular freak-off that they had. And she also talks about Paul. Paul is the guy that yesterday she said that their nickname for him was Shaq. She was Kobe and Diddy was Jordan, and they were the trifecta. So she is addressing the fact that she really enjoyed their encounters with Paul. But while Diddy's defense is trying to make it sound like, look, she was so into this. She loved having Paul. She asked for Paul. She wanted to clarify this. She said, if I had to do what I had to do, at least there was somebody who had a warm energy about them. So yes, she is saying positive things and had positive feelings about Paul, but she's saying, I'm only doing this because this is, at least I have an option here. She would prefer to not have the hotel nights at all, but she felt like these were the circumstances of the terms and conditions, as she put it yesterday, of this relationship. She said, if I see him, Diddy, there is a request for a hotel night. So I'm just adapting to my circumstances. I'm adapting to my environment. So yes, there were moments when I suggest or organize these things under the pressures of my lover. Yes. I think that's key thing there. She says, under the pressures of my lover. So she certainly feels pressured to do this. Does Diddy know that he's pressuring her? That is the...
When a personal narrative becomes part of the record, its force comes not from explicit detail, but from the imbalance of influence surrounding it. And in 50 Cent's documentary, the arc moves from emotional access and guidance into validation and closeness, before an alleged crossing of boundaries reframes connection as leverage, allowing the implication to spread quickly because it mirrors a broader pattern of authority, converting vulnerability into compliance, leaving communities grounded in spiritual trust, unsettled not only by the claim itself, but by the possibility that confidence was strategically exploited, ultimately pressing a hard question into the open. How much doubt can moral leadership absorb before its very foundation starts to give way?
Out of Dallas, a megachurch founder and pastor, TD Jakes of the Potter's House. His ex-son-in-law claims that TD Jakes abused him. Richard Brandon Coleman is the ex-husband of TD Jakes' daughter, Cora Jakes. An attorney representing Coleman says that Coleman now claims, along with other unnamed males, they claim to have credible allegations against the Potter's House founder, TD Jakes, of grooming, assault, sexting, and transporting them across state lines. Richard Brandon Coleman, 36 years old, also known by his stage name Ski Ventura, is serving time in a Texas prison for aggravated assault of a child and indecency with a child. Cora Jakes announced her divorce from Coleman in January 2022, shortly before his crimes became public, after they'd been married for about 10 years, and they have 2 adopted children. The attorney representing Coleman made this latest claim in a filing in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania last Friday. That is part of an ongoing defamation lawsuit that Jakes launched against former pastor Dwayne Youngblood and 10 John Does in November 2024. So there's a lot of legal mess, lawsuit, drama going on.
When a former prosecutor draws the boundary between private allegations and public accountability, it marks a decisive moment in 50 Cent's documentary, redirecting attention from viral narratives to the institutional rules that govern what can be scrutinized, charged, proven, or set aside, as the transcript exposes a stark clash between 2 systems, one where courts advance methodically toward evidence and verification, and another where public culture surges forward chasing interpretation and symbolism, one anchored in procedure and restraint, and the other fueled by urgency and emotion, forcing an uncomfortable reflection into view. When legal reality and public perception move on entirely different clocks, which one ultimately defines the enduring legacy of figures like Diddy?
Into like a whole nother scene, like a lost scene from Eyes Wide Shut. Like, this is looking a little weird. I mean, if Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons. Money or
real life. It ain't real life. Just ain't real life. Real life street stars. Know what time it is.
Why do you think TD Jakes was at Puff Daddy's birthday party?
You know, do you remember when Bernie Mac played the minister in Friday?
Yes.
That's how I feel about TD Jakes. Like, that's how I see. Oh, Miss Parker, come to pray. But for him to be at a Diddy party, I don't know. Like, I feel the same way about that as I feel about when Tyler Perry came to his church and laid hands on him and he caught the Holy Spirit from Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is the bishop of what? Like, I've never, like, and I cut a check for $100 and I'm gonna lay my hands on your bishop, and he said, and then the bitch said, it's on the fucking internet. He's doing all of this, right? And then there's a woman on the dais screaming, push the baby out, birth that baby, push the. I'm like, what? Are we at church? Or is this about to turn into like a whole nother scene, like a lost scene from Eyes Wide Shut? Like, this shit is looking a little weird. I mean, if Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons. Money. That's all that happens at Diddy parties. Money and I hope it was for money.
Charitable contribution.
I hope it was for money, because arguing about who's going to put the strap on is that can be a very uncomfortable situation. You know, we're going to pray on it. Praise.
The persistent tension in 50 Cent's documentary reaches past individual character and strikes at the architecture of power itself, interrogating why spiritual leadership so often surfaces within celebrity ecosystems that operate like influence exchanges, where access buys visibility and relevance becomes the reward, and where relationships between figures such as TD Jakes and Diddy generate shared legitimacy while quietly amplifying the danger of distortion and ethical erosion, transforming closeness into leverage and silence into its continuing cost, ultimately forcing a blunt question into focus. When influence depends on proximity, whose interests are truly being safeguarded when everyone decides to stay quiet?
Look, everything that I know tells me that he will get between 1 and 2 years, and I think it's going to be closer to 1. Prosecution is asking for 4. That's just not going to happen for a Mann Act violation. So if that's right, look, he wants to get the lowest he can get, and I think it's going to be between that 1 and 2 range. To get the 1, I think he's got to show the judge that he is taking his misdeed seriously.
Right. And by the way, we know that even when the judge said that he was not going to let him out on bail pending sentencing, one of the things he mentioned was his violence. You know, we've seen his violence. So he knows that this is an issue for the judge.
And the defense conceded it.
Right. So that's something he definitely has to address. And that's what he's doing with this program.
I mean, you know, Charles, he doesn't have to address it, but he is addressing it. And, you know, this might help him with regards to his sentence. Maybe the judge might sentence him to lesser time because he's working on himself.
But Jamie, you know what the complication here is that
he's been found not guilty on the charges that relate to drug use and domestic violence. That there was no conviction using force, fraud, or coercion in these three ways, and drugs. The Cassie video was off the table. The only thing he's been convicted of is taking a prostitute across state lines for the purpose of prostitution.
But can't the judge consider all of the testimony in the that was presented at the trial?
But the defense is going to say he was found not guilty on those things. So it's really kind of an interesting.
There's that, but there's another side of this. And Jamie, you've been working on this story for 5 days now to lock this down. But what was there was one key word, one of the sources you spoke to. You remember what that word was?
Yeah, redemption.
Yeah, because that's the other part of this.
Yeah.
That this is Diddy looking at my life after prison, because now that he knows he's not going to be locked away for decades, not going to be locked away for the rest of his life, if he could get out.
When legal counsel steps back and a firm disengages, 50 Cent's documentary presents the shifts as standard procedure. Yet in the public eye, they land as caution flags, particularly in high-profile matters connected to Diddy, where relationships subtly recalibrate, exposure is reassessed, and separation becomes a strategic shield. Underscoring that such exits are seldom confessions, but unmistakable indicators of mounting risk, pressing a sharper question to the surface. If power structures only begin to reposition once threat is undeniable, how long was that threat quietly accepted before anyone chose to pull away?
I don't know why they acting like they was in there looking for anything other than physical tape, because there was so many DNA samples in that house. They could have probably created a whole new race.
Let me ask you, when it comes to the hotels, he said that, or in the indictment, they said that there was people that were hired to clean up after the freak off. So this is not even the people that's hired by the hotel. These are special people.
No, they had to bring in outside clean. No, this is industrial level foolishness. We talking about?
It's Breaking Bad level.
Imagine what happened. Now you heard the video, you heard the footage with the him and the Meek. Now we also know that TD Jakes is allegedly also a power bottom. And he's a much older man. And they say he's very enthusiastic in his endeavors. What happens when he pops something loose? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because they're mentioning sex, but they're not mentioning women. They're mentioning men as sex workers.
Yeah.
Like is that a thing where like there's a website? I mean, what? It's just wild to hear like you mentioned the
You've never heard of Grindr?
I personally have not. That is what.
Why don't nobody ever talk about the fact that TD Jakes has an account allegedly on Grindr?
Oh wow.
Grindr is app. It's been around for about 15 years now. It's pretty much where you can put a GPS in an asshole. So you go onto the app and it uses the location. And it routes you to the account of the man closest to you. And then y'all DM and you decide if you're going to do it at the 7-Eleven or do it at the gay club in the bathroom. It's a hookup site for promiscuous gay men.
Wow.
The Grindr.
Jeez.
Why would a bishop have a ghost account?
Yeah, let me ask you, also in the 14-page indictment.
Grinding.
Oh, not clips. Not clips.
Grinding. Oh, baby.
Not malice. Not malice. Oh.
She loved the way I diddy bop. That's what Cameron said.
Yeah, we're about to go through all the lyrics again. There was an interview I was watching with, or a video I was watching with Jay-Z and Diddy from back in, I guess early 2000s. We're gonna go back and watch through all of this because
I think we need to, because everything was done in your face.
Yeah.
They played in all of our faces. All of this stuff was done.
In 50 Cent's documentary, the suggestion of recordings becomes leverage long before any evidence is confirmed, illustrating how observation doesn't need validation to influence behavior, because the possibility alone is enough to enforce restraint, turning uncertainty into a mechanism that shapes loyalty, hesitation, and silence among those orbiting celebrity and spiritual authority. And whether grounded in fact or inflated by rumor, the fear of exposure helps explain why influential figures connected to Diddy hesitate to speak, pushing us toward an unsettling realization. If pressure can suppress truth without ever entering a courtroom, how much of reality disappears quietly before it is ever documented?
Of Sean Diddy Combs in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September.
You want to put the stuff in my fanny pack?
The exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy.
Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what, no matter what nobody said. Let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
The footage is part of a new, highly anticipated docuseries by director Alex Stapleton and rapper and executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, titled Sean Combs: The Reckoning. Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching?
I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. He has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account and how he was coming off to the public.
The exclusive video also shows Combs in Harlem greeting fans.
Lord, you win. Lord, you win. We win it. I'll accept it. I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like 150 hugs.
You're a public person as well, and there was one instance in Harlem, and his reaction when those people
went away.
Got in
the car and said, I feel like I need to wash, like I'm dirt. It should show you his character.
Was that the reason for including it?
Yeah, what's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? Like that's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
The 4-part series also features 2 jurors from Combs' trial who are speaking for the first time about how they reached their mixed verdict.
50 Cent's documentary closes without tidy conclusions, leaving the line between confirmed facts and public conjecture deliberately blurred, compelling viewers to wrestle with uncertainty as legal systems unfold on their own timetable, while overlapping institutions, church, celebrity culture, media, and law diffuse responsibility at every level, letting figures from TD Jakes to Diddy claim they are merely awaiting the full picture, even as that patience quietly becomes protection, culminating in a stark, unsettling question. Who ultimately benefits when accountability is repeatedly delayed?